This is the High School Football America podcast for October 22nd, 2024. I'm Jeff Fisher. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by First Place Spiritwear, the official outfitter of High School Football America and our podcast. First Place Spiritwear has an up-and-running spiritwear store for every football program in America right now, and First Place Spiritwear is your hassle-free solution for coaches that want to just kind of get away from doing all that fundraising and all that. Once you talk with First Place Spiritwear coaches, you will have a seamless way to raise money with great product, with fan gear that your players and coaches and your fandom will just love. You can go to First Place Spiritwear by going to firstplacespiritwear.com. That's the number one, stplacespiritwear.com. Or the easiest way, go to highschoolfootballamerica.com and click on the First Place Spirit bannerware. That is a banner that is located on every page of our website. Now, a couple of things about First Place Spiritwear. Aside from being hassle-free, they do a lot of things that will make your life easier, as I said. Like, for example, once you get your store up and running and kind of design the way you want it, because there's one there right now, but if you put your logo in there with the team, Mike and Connie Meadows, the founders of the company, they will make that website sing, and then they'll give you marketing material that you can just put out to your email list, and then they will give you 10% back. Earn 10% fundraising on all sales. And during the off season, they have a couple of special things for you too. Plus, they're going to give you some coupons, discount codes that will give you $10 off. And that's going to go to your players, your coaches. You can't beat it. They carry the name brands that you love like Nike, Adidas, Champion. The stores are open 24/7, 365. And the best part of all, as I said, it's going to be hassle-free. No longer will you have to manage the inventory, meaning it's not going to be sitting in your office or on the couch at home having your wife complain that it's sitting in the middle of the kitchen table. That will all the product will be delivered right to the people that order it. That's right, it will ship to home within days, and there's no more ordering windows. You know what BSN Fancloth does? They have ordering windows. That's not the case with First Place Spiritwear. You need to check them out, and if you want to reach out to me, I can put you in touch with Mike Meadows, the founder of the company, and he will take very, very good care of you. That's First Place Spiritwear. That's firstplacespiritwear.com, the number one, stplacespiritwear.com. And the High School Football America podcast also brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier instant replay sideline system with outstanding reliability, and it has faster speed than Huddle Sideline. Video transfers instantly in GameStrat, and its connection, well, it stays strong throughout. Other GameStrat features are seamless video controls, video telestration, and play filtering. Set up easy. It only takes about 10 minutes. All of the coaches that I've turned over to GameStrat are so happy that I did, because their customer service is A++++. I can keep going with the pluses. They call you back right away. And hey, I tell you that because the coaches that complain about Huddle's, they're the big gorilla, but Huddle sometimes doesn't call back coaches. You will not be disappointed if you go to GameStrat. And if you mention highschoolfootballamerica.com, High School Football America will get you a friends and family discount. To get that demo, go to GameStrat.com, or just like for First Place Spiritwear, you can click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of highschoolfootballamerica.com. All right, heading north to Alaska. The first 11-man state championship trophy was handed out this past weekend, and the head coach from Homer High School, the Mariners in Alaska, winning the Division III championship, Justin Zank, is on the line to talk about a very exciting year. Like I said, first 11-man championship, lots of fun. Second title in 3 years for the Mariners, and he's on the line right now. And, Coach, thanks for taking the time. And you reminded me before I rolled the tape here, this is not your first appearance on our podcast. You were up there in Voznesenka. Did I say it right again? Because I had a practice the last time we were on years ago. But thanks for taking the time.
Yes, sir. You pronounced it correctly, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, well,
Again.
and just like last time, because the podcast doesn't always get to Alaska. I think last time was with Coach Brantley up at Soldotna, so it's been several years since we had him on here. I'm going to have you put on that kind of tourism Chamber of Commerce hat and let all the people around the nation know where Homer is located, what kind of community he is, and then we're going to dive into some football.
Homer, Alaska is located south central Alaska on the Kenai Peninsula. So Soldotna is north of us. So if you travel all the way down to the Kenai Peninsula, we are at the end of the road on Kachemak Bay.
All right, let's kind of dive right into things. What caught my eye when I saw that you guys won and we were putting the story up is you beat Kenai Central for the state championship, and it was kind of like a best of three this year. You played them twice in the regular season, taking the L in both, but you get the 16-0 shutout in the championship game. Tell me a little bit about some of the things you did leading into the title game that tried to make sure that you didn't have an O for this year. Tell everybody around the country how you did that.
Well, actually, dating back to last year, we're 0-4 going into that state title game against Kenai, and they had actually beat us in the state semis last year. We were up by 2 scores with 2 minutes left, and they came back to beat us with 17 seconds left on the clock last year in the state semis. And then 0-2 this year going into it. Well, we what helped us in that state game was number one, beating Barrow in Barrow, north of the Arctic Circle. So beating Barrow there was a big confidence boost for our guys. And then, just being 0-4 against what is our biggest rival in football gave fuel for the guys, plus the confidence from Barrow game, some adjustments we made defensively. That was the difference. And then just the instilling the belief that we could, kind of what we were saying, the whole playoffs and state run was that we will go to Barrow and beat Barrow in Barrow. We will play for a state championship game, and we will beat Kenai to do it.
And evidently, manifestation worked in the case of the Homer Mariners. Great win for you guys. Hey, Coach, before we dive into some of the kids, I think a lot of people may know about Barrow. We've had, I think it's probably been about 12 or 13 years since we had the Whalers here on the podcast. But I think the people around the nation would be interested in hearing what a trip like that is like for you guys. As you said, it's above the Arctic Circle. They may be known for their blue turf. I think it was the Jacksonville Jaguars helped them out with that there. But what kind of trip is that for you guys? Flights? I mean, in addition to worrying about X's and O's, you're worrying about travel plans and all that. Can you describe that for the listeners around the nation?
It's actually a little less extensive than one of our other trips, but it'll be about a 5-hour bus ride, 5-hour bus ride to Anchorage, Alaska, and then there we'll catch a flight from Anchorage to Barrow. That's usually about a 2-hour flight up to Barrow, and then that's the
trip. That's quite the trip. So if it's not the most extensive, what is the most extensive, and describe it for the listeners?
Well, I think travel to Kodiak is the most extensive for us on the football team, and that. The ferry departs from Homer, so that's nice, but it's usually a 12 to 15-hour ferry ride to get to the Kodiak Island.
Okay, well, folks, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that's the most extensive, especially if the seas aren't cooperating that day.
So all you coaches that have flown from, let's just say, and there's a lot of them this past year, Florida to California, that 5.5, 6-hour flight. That ain't bad, as they say after Coach Zank just told you what that trip was like. He led Homer to the Division III championship in the state of Alaska this year. And let's kind of dive into things here with the kids. What kind of program did you have coming in? Did you have a lot of kids coming back? Talk a little bit about some of the leaders. I know you didn't have the biggest roster in the world. We can't get everybody's name in there, but let's get as many kids in as possible, the leaders on this team that led you to the Division III Alaska title this year.
Well, we're Division III, so we're a little bit smaller. We had 51 total on the roster. Some of the leaders, our captains, were junior Nikifor Rutov, number 2. He's inside linebacker for us, and then also played some running back. He's actually from Voznesenka, so I actually taught him in preschool when I was out there, and then that carried over into Homer. Preston Stanislaw, inside linebacker, and he was our starting quarterback, and we actually lost him midway through that state championship game. And then number 12, C.J. Burns, came in as our backup quarterback and helped lead us to those 2 touchdown scores at the end of the game to ultimately seal it and win it. Eli Stodola, one of our third captain, number 65. He's our starting center, and also hadn't really played much on defense, but in the playoffs and state championship game, we had him playing defensive tackle. And then Donovan Milstead's our fourth captain, number 71. He's our starting defensive tackle. He ended up getting one of the players of the game in the state championship game.
Cool. So I would assume with a smaller roster, you got a lot of kids going both ways. How many of your players go both ways?
Well, actually, about 3 weeks into the season, we tried to do a full split to where we were platooning. But we did have more guys going both ways once we hit the playoffs. Nikifor Rutov was going both ways. Preston Stanislaw, our quarterback, once he got healthy, he was going both ways. C.J. Burns was going both ways. That was about it, though. I mean, we don't have a lot of crossover.
Oh, okay, cool. Justin Zank is on the line with us. He is the head coach at Homer High School, the Division III champs, first 11-man champ in America here in 2024. A week before that, Alaska handed out its 9-man championship. They started 9-man football a couple of years ago. And Coach, you're the one doing the interview. You're the guy that gets all the props. Head coach this, head coach that, but you obviously cannot do it without your staff. So I always like to take time when we're doing a little bit of championship chat to give you the opportunity to talk about your coaches, get them in by name there. Try not to forget any, because you're never going to live that one down, but talk a little bit about your staff and their role in getting you guys to another title.
Well, I got a big time shout out to our defensive staff. We had given up 39 points to Kenai. Actually, total in the 2 losses this season, we'd given up 60 points, and then we pitched 2 straight shutouts, including that state championship shutout. So Danny Stanislaw is our defensive coordinator, and he helped to draw that up along with Brian Harder, who's our D-line coach, and Jay Chirac, who's our secondary coach. Those 3 really helped to drive that defensive effort.
Talk a little about your offensive guys. Like I said, let's not forget anybody.
Well, offensive guys. Well, I call the offense, and then Camden Doty is our O-line coach. Who we had a pretty inexperienced bunch on the O-line this year. We had a transfer in who was Eli, who had some previous 9-man experience. Outside of that, we only had one other guy who'd seen any kind of varsity football action. So everybody was pretty raw and pretty young there. So he helped to coach those guys up. Steve Cannon was our new quarterbacks coach this year. He was pivotal, especially in our offense. We run a spread read option, and most of the offense goes through our quarterbacks. We do a lot of QB run, And then he really helped out with reads in the passing game. Joshua Max, he's our guy in the booth, our analytics guy, and also our running backs coach. And then Cody Davidson. Cody Davidson was helping out with wide receivers and with defensive backs, so he was crossing over. And then Kyle Osler was also helping out on the O and D line as well.
That's a decent-sized staff you have there for a smaller program. Good number of guys helping out there. That's awesome to hear. Folks, just to put it in perspective what Coach said there, the first game against them was, I guess that was your season opener back in the middle of August 17th, and then the 39-8 loss was back on just 2 weeks ago. So I guess in retrospect, not that you ever want to have a 31-point loss there, but was that helpful in some ways to kind of get the kids focused heading into the championship game?
Oh, I think it was necessary for us to lose in that fashion for the kids to have that extra motivation and extra focus going into that state game. I think if we win either one of those games, it may not be the same.
Mm-hmm.
But to get beat the way we did, I think it was necessary for us to achieve what we ultimately did.
Yeah, obviously a big bounce back there. Talk a little bit about Homer. What's the population there, and how did the community celebrate, along with you, your staff, and the kids, this championship?
Oh, well, within the Homer city limits, I think we're about 5,000 people, and then it's 10,000 total in the greater Homer area. We had the fire department and the police department met us on the way back into town, and they gave us an escort in, and then we had community members meeting us at the high school and community members along the roadway, honking horns and waving as we came in.
Nice. That's always special. Speaking of special, I said it's 2 and 3 years. I know it's always tough to ask a coach, is one more special than the other? It's like, who's your favorite kid, that sort of thing. But can you put a focus between the two? Was there a sweeter one? Were they equally as sweet? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that first one was the first in our school's history. So that one had, that one was pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
And also beating that undefeated Houston team in that first one, and beating them the way that we did. We scored more points on them in that game than they'd given up the entire season. And our defense also shut down that offense. I mean, that was a special win, but then this one, this one was special too, because it was against our rival, and it was against Kenai, and getting beat the way we did against them earlier, and then to get it back when it mattered the most, was special as well.
You handled that very well. It was like you said, I love all my kids. You got 1 and 2, the 2 championships in there, gave them equal footing, which was really great. And before we go here, and we, again, appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. We know you're very busy. You got classwork. You're also the athletic director there on that. But I'm going to have you put on kind of your hat for Alaska football. I know it's been a while since you and I spoke, and we all have been promoting what Soldotna has done there with all of its championships. And obviously a lot of the teams are in that Anchorage, kind of Fairbanks area and all that, but is there any way to kind of sum up where high school football in the state of Alaska is going? Because I have talked to several coaches, and they're very happy with where the way it's headed. So can you kind of give us your little take on Alaska high school football 2024?
Well, I hope with that 9-man division that it's growing. We want more programs. We want more football going on in the state. I'm hearing rumors that more teams will join that 9-man. I hope that 9-man grows into 11-man. If it doesn't, then I just hope that the 9-man continues to grow. But I think we've got parity across divisions. Soldotna's kind of Soldotna has been pretty dominant in Division II, but if you look at Division II this year, there was a 3-way tie, I think, for playoff spots. And then Soldotna did lose to Lathrop to towards the end of the season, and then they have a rematch this weekend in the state championship game. And then you look at where our division sits, Division III. It's been us 2 out of the last 3, but Kenai last year. The previous year, before us, it was Reddington, and then Barrow's got one in 2017. So I think that Division III is extremely competitive there as well. And then Division I seems like this year's Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond's kind of running the gamut right now. So I think we have parity. I think that it's growing, and I like where it's heading.
Good. That's great for the sport. And as partners with NFL Play Football, we also like to point out that girls flag became big, and you guys held championships this last weekend there too. So yes, high school football is flourishing, boys and girls style, in the state of Alaska. And Coach, we appreciate you taking the time with us. Continued success with your program, and continue to celebrate. But I'm sure you're probably already thinking about 2025, but at least celebrate this for a little bit. And thanks for taking the time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. That's going to do it for today's podcast. For appearing on the podcast, Coach Zank will get, he's going to love this. It is going to be his own personalized fan gear pack that will have the Mariners located all over the stuff we're sending him. That's what he gets from our good friends and our partners at First Place Spiritwear. Check them out, firstplacespiritwear.com. That's the number one, stplacespiritwear.com. Hassle-free solution to get your fan gear. And once you look at what they have, your program, your school is already up on their website. 15,000 plus schools on the website with their stores up and running. You cannot beat what they're going to do for you. You're not going to have to worry about collecting money anymore, storing inventory, delivering inventory. Coaches, your life will get easier. If you don't do it, you have a PTA member doing it or the Booster Club. Hey, just connecting with me, I'll get you connected to Mike and Connie Meadows at First Place Spiritwear. They're the founders. They're not some big corporate. Hey, they're big enough to be great, but they're small enough to care at this point. So you want to get in touch with First Place Spiritwear. And brought to you by NFL Play Football. Hey, coaches, don't forget to check out playfootball.nfl.com for some great resources to help you improve in the coaching profession. And we're brought to you by GameStrat. The amazing product, the GameStrat. We've been bragging about them for over 5 years right now. They are America's premier sideline instant replay system. They're at the college level now, kicking butt there too, I might add. They have outstanding reliability and faster speed than Huddle's sideline. Video transfers instantly, set up easy, only in about 10 minutes. And you get a discount. Mention High School Football America, and you will get a friends and family discount. They have prices on all types of plans that will fit your budget. Trust me on that. To get that demo, go to GameStrat.com or click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com. That's going to do it for today's podcast. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the High School Football America podcast. I'm Jeff Fisher.